The Chaos Dwarf DLC is just around the corner, and with 3 brand new Legendary Lords, we get 3 new Immortal Empires campaigns. In the continuation of my series here, I want to help guide you through deciding which Lord to choose by giving you a no-spoiler breakdown of their Immortal Empires campaigns. I've already done their Realm of Chaos ones. I'll go through each Legendary Lord, just giving you a very brief summary of their abilities and what their campaign plays like to help you decide which one is right for you. Now, I've organized these from the ones I enjoy the least to the ones I enjoy the most, and this is by no means a concrete fact. You might love one of them more than I do. I'm just kind of grading them off of my preference or what landmarks are nearby, how their economy plays, what the actual gameplay loop is like, whatever it is. But in this video today, we'll be covering obviously the brand new Chaos Dwarfs. You can quickly navigate to any character that interests you the most using the chapters in both the timeline and the description. As always, guys, if you have not yet pre-ordered the Chaos Dwarf DLC, you can use my Creative Assembly affiliate link in the description and pinned comment. Also, don't forget to check me out on Twitch, where I will be streaming and doing giveaways of the Chaos Dwarf DLC found in the comment and description yet again. Well, let's get started here on the Chaos Dwarfs Immortal Empires campaigns. Our first lord to look at is Drazhoath the Ashen. This is one that I technically think, I guess, is quote-unquote the worst, but just as a quick heads up, all 3 of the lords are very fun and amazing and a great time, so I just want to throw that out there. Now, I'm not going to go through all the Chaos Dwarf mechanics. We've already done that. What I'm going to talk about really quick is that he gets Sentinels of Ashes, which gives armament costs minus 10% for all unit capacity upgrades in the Hellforge, and armaments output plus 10%. Those are 2 really huge capabilities because it allows him to capitalize on the Hellforge here, getting a lot of unit caps up and getting a lot of armament so he can use the manufactory to boost up their abilities with runes and what have you. Now, for his actual ability, he gets Tyrant of the Black Tower, which reduces the upkeep and increases upkeep for Kadai units and increases his movement range by 10%, but also gives him the passive ability Dark Renown. That's going to increase melee attack by 8 in a 35-meter radius around him. It's quite a nice ability, but the unit does have to have Contempt. That's the only caveat here. And he himself starts with both Burning Wrath and Dark Subjugation because he is a Sorcerer Prophet of Hashut, and he has some really good bonus versus infantry of 20. I mean, on foot, he's actually stupid strong. He's probably one of the actual strongest characters you can go with for the Chaos Dwarfs. Now, for his red and blue line, it's just kind of standard fare for the Chaos Dwarf. Same thing with his yellow line, and really, honestly, for his casting too. It's pretty much run-of-the-mill when it comes to casting. He does get Arcane Conduit compared to Drazhoath. Astragoth, who gets greater Arcane Conduit. I know it's Astragoth, but the game pronounces Astragoth in fancy pants. For his special line, he does get Towering Heights for research rate, construction time, and construction cost reductions. He gets We Are Legion, which helps out with boosting any Infernal Guard and Infernal Ironsworn, of course, including the Regiment of Renown here. So very nice ability, upkeep reduction, as well as bonus versus infantry and armament cost reduction. So you're adding that armament cost reduction to the same one that he gets by default, that 10% from his actual faction capability. But he also helps out again with the upkeep and the bonus versus. Adding bonus versus infantry to those units is very good, especially the Infernal Ironsworn, who will get a really nice bonus versus infantry into their profile, which is really juicy. Don't mind Roman in the background going to town on his squeaky toy. But you also get income from cities and raw materials output, which matches his bonus of armament output. He is really a strong character when it comes to economy. I'm going to show you how that really gets out of hand. Master of Hell is going to help out with armament cost, weapon strength, and physical resistance, all for your Kadai units. Ashen's with hit point and giving him a 600-point barrier as well when recovery time reduction. But here's a big one here. Long Years of Exile is going to reduce the Winds of Magic cost for Flames of Asgore, which is a big explosion spell, by 6. Increase this then by 2 points, and you get the reduction on this by 3 for the Winds of Magic of Asgore. So its default is 18, so you'll be able to cast this thing at 9 Winds of Magic. It is absolutely disgusting. And he gets Sinner Breath, his Great Bale Taurus, which is a lovely, lovely thing. With his 3 items here, which are very strong, great abilities. A Hell Shard gives him damage reflection, which is lovely. Demon's Bite Crucible gives him spell mastery, and then the Graven Scepter gives him a huge bonus to his attack. So it's a really, really great set of weapons that also are items that also have a set bonus here for Infernal Castellan, as well as enemy leadership reduction. So the big thing here with this campaign and how it kind of breaks down is you can have a lot of fun adding to a lot of the things that he gets innate bonuses to. You know, you jump into the research tree, you go into Demon Forge, and now you're giving flaming attacks to rank 7 and higher Kadai units, physical resistance for your Kadai units, armament cost reduction. So if you took a look at that armament cost reduction, we had that 10%, the 25% from his actual skill that puts that at 35%. You get this research, that's 45%. You get the Tower of Zar seat that reduces armament cost by 10%. You have to 55% armament reduction for your Kadai units. And that's the same thing here with your melee and missile infantry Chaos Dwarf units. You can really go to town on capitalizing on that armament cost reduction to get a lot of unit caps, to get a lot of manufactory, really exploding the Hellforge. And that's the name of the game with Drazhoath, is taking advantage of the Hellforge as much as you can. And this too, adding way more abilities into the Kadai units. And you can, as far as economy goes, what's nice about Drazhoath that the other two don't get right out the gate is the just unscrupulous access to, or scrupulous access to landmarks. He starts with the Infernal Barracks, which is for Infernal Castellians. He also gets the Sentinel, which is right here, which gives Karam, which helps out with max capacity on cargo and also income from trade tariffs, which is a better version of this research. So you already just get so many things you can take advantage of. And on top of it, Marble, you can't see it right here because there's a no spoiler breakdown, but Marble allows you to make a building that produces more raw materials than your top tier building on an outpost can. So you can actually make this into a factory and push out a ton of armaments as well as raw material and get more output than you would in just a single outpost. So that's a huge capability. And if I remove the Fog of War here, he has the Gates of Zar, which gives him access to 2 other individual landmarks, raw materials right here. This one right here that helps out with Demon Smiths. Or if he goes to the south, he gets access to the Fortress of Vorag, which gives him this for helping out with Lamasu, Great Taurus, and Bale Taurus units and adding to their breath attacks. So the nice thing here with this is that you do get access to a lot of really cool landmarks around you. But I think the thing about Drazhoath's campaign is it's kind of boring by comparison to the other two. And I think the game wants you to go north into the Wolflands and butt up against the Plain of Zar. I think it really wants you to get into Zar Nagrund. Well, not actually like get physically into it, but get real close to it and be butted up right against it. Because you do have Imrik to the south, and it's a very easy take in the beginning of the game. You do also have Tretch Craventail right here at Crookback, which is, again, a pretty easy take in the early game. But his campaign is better suited to Realm of Chaos, in my opinion. Realm of Chaos, he kind of has carte blanche to a lot of the portions of the map that the other two can't access, and is a pretty dead location, so we can have a huge sprawling empire. You have a lot of really lackluster stuff over here, and things that are actually very annoying and boring to fight. I hate fighting the undead. Then you got to go down here and you got to fight a ton of Nurgle demons, or you go over here into the worst location ever. I mean, thank God you have the Underway, but it's just a ton of Skaven, then a ton of Dwarfs, and a ton of Skaven. Or you go further over this way, and it's a lot of Orcs, or well, you do have Orcs, but it's Grease's Goldtooth and a ton of Ogres. In his Realm of Chaos campaign, he can go immediately almost into Cathay at like turn 10, 15, 20. So there are a ton of awesome things for Drazhoath, and I think individually he's one of the strongest lords because he has a really awesome combat capability. He gets the lore of Hashut, and he can make juiced up Infernal Guard and Infernal Ironsworn, as well as tons of Kadai, not to mention Kadai destroyers that are just super jacked. But I think the other two make for much better, more fun experiences, or a funner experience where you get to have a lot more interesting playstyle. But that is our Drazhoath. Let's move over now into our next lord. The middle boy, the middle child here is Zhatan the Black. Probably the coolest looking lord of the three though, because that color scheme is Fuego. Taking a look at his faction effects, we get max number of convoys and recruitment cost reduction minus 50% for artillery and war machines. I'm going to show you how you can exploit that in just a second here. But that max number of convoys is huge because the convoys allow you to get a quick injection of one of the resources into your stockpile. Either raw materials, armaments, laborers, or just raw gold. So all those things are really great to have, and the fact that you get those going fast is quick. Wait, going fast is good because you really want to jump into this quickly. This allows you to increase convoy overseer recruitment ranks. Do this by the time you get your convoys unlocked. That convoy cartographer allows you to get even more convoys. Then there's a Tower of Tsar, I think in the tier 3, that will increase your recruitment rank for your overseers. And then completing a district in the Tower of Tsar grants you another convoy. So you can really get going here hard with the convoys. And that's a really fun thing. For the actual Lord effect, he does have Labor Master, which increases casualty captured post-battle. Don't get this confused with laborers captured post-battle. The casualties are what you then would convert into laborers, money, or replenishment for yourself. So this allows Zhatan the Black to actually have the best post-battle replenishment right out the gate. But he also gets local recruitment capacity +1, allowing him to really get a good army going quickly. And then Sadistic Snare here, which is going to lock something down and reduce its melee defense by 24, and then for the duration of 33 seconds. By and large, though, he's a very just generic lord. He is an overseer that is a legendary lord. That is it. And his stat line reflects that, right? Nothing crazy with his weapon strength, anything like that. Even jumping into his skills. This blue and red line, even his yellow line, are pretty much run-of-the-mill. The big things to point out, though, in his yellow line are hard to hit because you want to get your melee defense up as much as possible with Zhatan, and I'll explain that in a second. But you also want Boundless Cruelty because that's going to help reduce leadership to the enemy for every enemy that enters the entity range here of 35 meters. So you really can take advantage of this and cripple the leadership of your enemy, especially using his special line. So the reason you want hard to hit, though, is because this is going to give you 12 melee defense. Look what happens to his melee defense when you get on the Great Taurus. It goes from 55 boom, to 28, because you are now a single entity monster and you lose 65 armor. The Lamassu goes from 55, boom, now to 52, which is nowhere near as bad, but you got to be rank 11 to get that. So trying to mitigate that as much as you can with having 12 extra melee defense is going to be a really nice little kick for him. For his Brutality of Tsar is when you really start to get a lot of punching power with Zhatan. You get bonus versus large, get AP. Subjugator is now going to add to that casualties captured and now labor gained post-battle. So not only do you get the casualties, but the raw amount of labor you get from just simply winning the fight as well as experience and money, those three values that you always get from doing post-battle, now that's all kind of increased right here with this Subjugator ability. The black helps out with regeneration on him and a ward save. General of Tsar is going to help out with upkeep reduction, casualty replenishment rate, which is really cool because they do suffer with casualty replenishment rate across the whole faction. And then recruitment rank +1 too. Haughty Resilience is going to help out with armor, leadership, and even more melee defense for the army. That applies to him, remember that. So that's a really nice way to combat that Great Taurus crippling point. The Laughing Killer is going to create enemy leadership -10. Combine that with Boundless Cruelty, it's -18 for leadership when you get things really going, but also gives him perfect vigor and then that AP. For quest items here, he has a really great set of items that are going to give him campaign movement range, character aura leadership, and the leadership aura size. But Armor of Gazrak helps with damage resistance as he takes damage. The Obsidian Axe gives him just a deadly amount of AP and melee attack as he kills things, also giving him Sundering attacks, which is juicy, and increasing his weapon strength by 25% as well as 100 AP. So Zhatan starts very vanilla, but gets very destructive. Chaos Rune Shield probably being one of his coolest things because it gives 15% casualty replenishment. Stack that here with General of Tsar, you're looking at 25%. You can even use Logistician, that's going to throw in an additional 6, that's 31% casualty replenishment rate, not to take into account any seats, any buildings, anything like that. Passive ability though, Chaos Rune Shield gives immune to contact effects in a 35-meter radius. That is so good. So when it comes to like a single lord and their pound for pound destructive capability in combat, Zhatan is up there. I think he might be the best one. And Astragoth will go into how he can really be the economy powerhouse. But now that we've looked at all that, one of the big things to take a look at here is his starting location. He's in the Stone Sky foothills, which is a very cool spot because he is not in the Darklands like the other two lords are. And he starts right up against Kolek Suneater, who he already has a non-aggression pact with, which is really cool. And he becomes his first candidate for trade. So you actually get a very kind of safe and easy playthrough and an easy way to just jump into Cathay, because on the Immortal Empires map, there are very few landmarks for you to take advantage of that are not in the Darklands. One of the only other ones here is right here in Nangao, which gives you repurposed forges. The other one, remember I was talking about exploiting a lot of the war machines, is right here. So this allows you to get battle healing cap for war machine units, which your demon smith is gonna take advantage of, which you start with, upkeep reduction for artillery and war machine units, and then armament per turn plus 50. That's awesome. So you can really jump into war machines in a big way with Zhatan. He's really your focused, I guess you could say artillery lord, but artillery sounds like a weird concept. I guess war machines is what we'll stick with. And one of the big things you need to be doing with every single character that you play the Chaos Dwarfs with is doing this. You need to make this Hobgoblin mustering camp on turn 1, or if you capture a location and it has a Hobgoblin mustering camp, you need to upgrade it. Because then you have to make 8 Hobgoblins, which you then get Gorda's Backstabber, which is your replenishment hero. That is a crucial step, because if you do that, then you really get a really good amount of power scaling going, because you can keep being on the rampage a little bit. And on top of it too, the fact that he can recruit 4, if I'm over there, he can recruit 4 out the gate, which is very nice. So Zhatan here is a very fun campaign, very much like Drazhoath. He's in a very different location, he's very unique, and he's very cool. And I was so close to putting him as number 1, because I think my personal choice is that he is the coolest one. But I think if you're looking at the campaign mechanics of this character and what he can take advantage of, Astragoth just has so much more. Zhatan, by no stretch of imagination, is weak here, right? Like, he has so many convoys going out. Convoys do get to a point, though, where you're like, I guess I'll just send a convoy out. And by the time you get access to a second convoy through the Tower of Zar, or for Zhatan, that would be his 3rd convoy, convoys are more, let me just send them out and kind of fill in the gaps here. I can't imagine what my economy is going to be like if I've got max convoys through natural mechanics plus the one from Zhatan. It's just going to, I'll probably just stop sending them out at that point. But it's still a very fun campaign. He's got the coolest look of all of them. And he does start in a really unique position where you're not vying for the northern portions of the Darklands or southern portions of the Darklands. You're fighting Cathay, and you're fighting into a whole different arena. The game really does push you east and then south, because, I mean, you can only go east. I mean, you can go west here and then reconnect with the Plains of Zar, knocking out Grimgor right in this location. But I think that the focus of Zhatan is on war machines, and the Eastern Steppes provide that with you with the landmark bonus, as well as having very little opposition once you push all the way to the Red Wastes. The only aggression you're going to get is from the west and the south, well, and then I guess also southwest. So it's a very safe campaign, but it's still a very, very fun one, and it allows you to have a lot more expansion than you did with Drazhoath. But let's go into our last lord to talk about how he can really get unbridled. All right, it's time to talk about the number 1 lord, the best lord on the list, Diaper Daddy himself, Astragoth. I don't know how to pronounce it. The game says Astragoth, it's weird for me. So let's take a look at what we got here with faction effects. The faction effects alone are very strong. Conclave influence gain from all sources plus 10%. Research rate plus 10%. Control plus 2. Those 3 things are super strong to your campaign. And especially if you play on very hard or legendary, control is going to be your biggest struggle and pain point with the Chaos Dwarfs. And he shuts it down a lot faster than the other lords can. Also, Conclave influence gain from all sources means a lot of things. 1, he can push his way through the Tower of Zars, claiming multiple seats, usurping people from seats, getting whole districts completed, and then finally doing one of the top 3 to fully confederate another, probably one of the stronger other Chaos Dwarf faction. That is really, really strong. But you can also use that Conclave influence to get Conclave influence and use it when you take over a capital and make for a better tower out the gate. Those 3 things are what pushed this character above Zhatan for me, because he's able to take advantage of so many other things so much quicker. Taking a look at his trait, he gets Mechanical, which gives passive ability Mechanical Overdrive, increasing that base weapon damage and melee attack as he makes kills. Gets Casualty Replenishment Rate, which is really strong, and then Ward Save for Bull Centaur render units. As everyone's seen here leading up to this pre-release for the Chaos Dwarfs, Bull Centaurs are probably one of the strongest things in the army, and he can just make them jacked. He can just inject those Russian steroids right into them. So taking a look at his actual stats too, he's stupid strong as a hybrid caster lord, but really he's got a cool hybrid caster kit too, pulling from the brand new revamped Lore of Fire as far as its visual effects go, and from the Lore of Hashut. He's got a lot of stuff going for him. He's immune to Psych too. He gets Wall Breaker and Siege Attacker. with 480 juicy weapon strength, 310 AP from that, and magical and flaming attacks. Everything here standard fare as far as everything all the way up until his actual casting, but like I said, he gets both the Lore of Hashut and Fire. Take a look at Hellhammer here. So Hellhammer can be cast with 16 winds of magic. We can increase that with this capability here, bringing it down to 13 winds of magic, and then his unique line allows me to bring that all the way down an additional 6 points. So it makes it so that we can bring out Hellhammer at I think it's 8 total points less. What was it again? How my math skills work? 3 minus, so it's 9 less points. So he can cast Hellhammer there for 7 winds of magic, and it is a destructive capability, especially with a lot of the things you'll be dealing with, because it does do some fun 50% AP. For his unique line too, he gets the ability to do some winds of magic reserve. Master of Conclave helps out with diplomatic relations and allied recruitment costs. Architect of Evil helps out with that armament cost, upkeep reduction, and then the AP damage bonus for your Bull Centaur renders, render units across the board. Piercing Intellect is going to give him a bound spell of Burning Wrath, as well as enemy winds of magical power reserve. And then Infernal Lord allows him to get hero recruitment ranks up, as well as Lord recruitment ranks here and capacity increase. Keep in mind, though, he does have greater Arcane Conduit. He's the only one who does of the 3. And he can really go to town with these, with the Bull Centaurs. He's probably the one that I recommend jumping into the red line, just so you can get Crushing Charge to get that weapon strength bonus and the charge bonus. You want to make sure that you're taking advantage of your research, dumping into Living Metal for some armor bonuses and temple training to help out with Perfect Vigor for Bull Centaur renders, armament cost, melee attack, and then jumping into the Hellforge too, because you have I can't go into the manufactory. Damn, I can't even do that. But in the manufactory, you can give these guys Blood Greed. You can give them the other lesser regeneration one. You can give them Barrier. He can just make Bull Centaurs so strong and so disgusting. And even though this says 10, you're not limited to 10 renders. You can keep pushing past this. It's just after 10. Okay, there you go. Barrier hit points 800. It's just after 10 you stop getting any manufactory options. So strength from flesh, and then Blood Greed. Those are all really amazing abilities that they get access to, so it's a really nice thing. And then Hellforged here allows it so the Demon Smith can actually heal them. So a lot of cool stuff with the Bull Centaurs. And of note too here, you do start off with a Taruk. The trait he rolls with is random, so I'd recommend you keep rebooting your campaign until you get this one. Enables sundering attacks and weapon strength plus 10%. It makes him so much stronger out the gate because I find him to be very weak. Even though he's got 70 armor, but that 42 melee defense and his health pool only being 6,200, I find this guy gets killed very quickly. So you have to keep him on the move, and giving him that sunder capability allows him to burst stuff down very quick, especially as you push through the rest of his skills and give him like Seeing Rod that makes him very, very, very destructive. And Frenzy, of course. But outside of that too, you start with Uzkalak, which gives you access to this bad boy, making for much better Bull Centaur, Taruks, and what have you, and render unit upkeep reductions. But also look at the map here. You start in a pretty safe space up here in Zorn Uzkul, and then after that, you can go north, but you probably shouldn't because you're allied with these guys. I mean, this is Chaos. They don't have any problems with you. The real fun is that you, as the Chaos Dwarfs, really get to bring the fury to the Dwarfs. You jump into the Northern World's Edge Mountains, and you get access to some really great things right out the gate here. Let's go ahead and remove the Toggle Fog of War. You get Karak Ungor, which is going to give you a ton of gold. And you also get the Silver Pinnacle, which is going to give you gemstones. So you have the capability here. Oopsies, toggle that Fog of War. You have the capability here with this Lord to just simply use the Underway, jump over here, smash this out, and take it over by turn 5, 6, 7, depending on how fast you move on this. Make sure you get Gordas up and running, and you get a very girthy little army going quickly. And Kisev's really not going to bother you. You're just going to move south into Karak Kadron, then south into the Karaz-Ankor, and just take over the entire World's Edge Mountains. Then you can double back and come back here into the Blasted Wastes, or you get spicy. You jump here through the Uzkulak Canal and go all the way down here. Fog of War, right there. And come right out the Demon Stump and fight these guys. Because the AI for Drazhoath typically doesn't fight them. And you can just take this over so that you pretty much have full control over the Blasted Wastes and the Wolflands, as well as Zorn Uskul, you are the Chaos Dwarf Emperor right there and then and there. Then you just gotta wait until you have enough to claim the Plains of Zar. So this Lord has so many ways to take advantage of the things that really hinder you the most. Control is a really hard thing to deal with. Conclave can really be something that you, if you're not really experienced in which buildings are really going to get a lot of output of Conclave, it can really hamstring you. And the AI will take over those seats before you get a chance to. And I think that when you're playing the Immortal Empires here with Astragoth, you just get so many tools at your disposal. You get a just disgusting Bull Centaur Legion by mid-game if you really focus on teching hard into it. And starting with this too, I didn't mention this in any of the other ones, but he has like the best starting building because he has the ability to make Bull Centaurs out the gate. That is really damn good. Also great Taurus. So when I click on him, yeah, I've got to increase my stuff in here, but that just takes armament. I don't have to tech into it or build it. And that's a really good thing, because looking at that building, it costs 250 armament. So I have to really jump into making that a priority. But this way, I just start with the tech into it. That is a really nice boon here. And on top of it too, I can put in a great Taurus into this right on turn 1. So with the ability to kind of just get going faster and have a really strong mid to late game faster also than your other counterparts, it really puts this guy at the top as the best quote-unquote legendary lord for the Chaos Dwarfs in the Immortal Empires campaign. But at that, it brings our video here to a close. So you go ahead and let me know. You're going to be jumping into this DLC tomorrow. Do you like what you've seen with these characters and some of the pre-release stuff? Or are you going to jump into it and tell me, you know what, actually, I just don't find Astragoth that good. I find that the ability to get those war machines online far cheaper and far faster for Zhatan is way better. Or you know what, I've been playing with Drazhoath, and I took that river route up to the north, and I took over Astragoth instead. I didn't let him run rampant over there and run ramshot on things. And so I'm moving down from the north as Drazhoath. There's a lot of different ways you can approach these campaigns. And like I've said before, enjoy this the way you want. This is my opinion of what I think is the worst to the best. And also, like I said, none of these are bad campaigns. They're all really fun. They're all really strong in their own way because they focus on different portions of the Chaos Dwarf army or economy or mechanics. So take advantage of them in the best way you can. But hopefully this gives you a starting point when you jump into the Immortal Empires Chaos Dwarfs campaigns tomorrow. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. Have a good one and take care.